Hello my beautiful friends and welcome to Tailor Made Beauty by Kris. Today's video I'm going to do a look and swatches out of this palette, and I am going to compare two sets of brushes, high-end brushes. First of all, the palette. This is the McGrath Mthrship Sublime Bronze Ambition palette. I have been hearing such amazing things about McGrath eyeshadows. I could not bring myself to pull the trigger on the full-size palettes, which I think go for $129. So during the Sephora VIB summer sale, I picked up this one for retails for $65, and then I got my 20% off. Having said that, and they call this a mini palette, I think because it only has 6 colors, but really there is nothing mini about this palette. This is 6 really good size pans of color, and it comes with a heavy plastic sheet that has the names on them, and let me just show you those. And let's swatch. So let's start with Guilt Trip. This is the lightest color. Okay, even in my teeny tiny little monitor, I can see how that is reflecting light. Oh, I don't think that one's gonna disappoint. All right, let's move on to Bronze Struck. All right. Oh yeah. And that one too. Okay, very pretty. Oh, and you can just see the depth of color, even swatching. All right, moving on to Copperized. Oh boy. Oh, yes. If you've been watching me, you know I love my oranges and my coppers, and that is really, really, really pretty. All right, switching sides, let's go in with the darkest one on here, which is called Illicit. And you know, sometimes these dark browns are super chalky. That one is not chalky at all. You want color payout on a dark brown, that is going to give it to you. All right, so far they have all been shimmers. This is the only matte in the palette, and this is Throwing Shade. So I think if I don't want to try to go outside the palette, look at that color. Oh, it's pretty, 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 pretty. I don't know if I can make that work as a crease color for me. And last but not least is Gold Rush. All right. Look, oh, again, I can totally see that even in my teeny tiny monitor. Pretty, pretty, pretty. Okay, so, well, I think my challenge that I will pose for myself is to make this palette work and not go get any other palette, just see what kind of a look I can put together out of this palette, and hopefully it won't be too over the top because I do have to go to Target next. All right, just cleaning up my fingers. Let me talk to you for just a minute about the brushes I have. This is the Wayne GOSS eye set that I got from Beautylish for $130. So 5 brushes, if you do the math, that's $26 a brush, which is not outrageous. And these are natural bristle brushes. And you can kind of see, you know, some of the little hairs that stand out. I've had these brushes now for a couple of months. I really love these brushes. These brushes can make even sort of lower quality eyeshadow go on beautifully. So I know sometimes Mel Thompson talks about eyeshadows that maybe she feels like she needs synthetic brushes or natural brushes to get them to pick up better. I am not that sophisticated in my brush or palette use, but these are, I believe, the only natural brushes I own. And then the other brush set that I've got is the new set from BK Beauty. If you follow Lisa J, you know that she has started a company, BK, Be Kind, and that some of her proceeds are going to a kindness project. So I like to support women businesses. I like to support women businesses that are supporting good causes. And I just got these the other day. I haven't used them yet. So, but I will say that neither one of those brush sets has a little sharp angle brush that I like to do my lash line. So this is a Smashbox one that I brought down to do that. And the BK has a smudger, but it's kind of a fat, I mean, it's a true smudger, so it's a little fatter. And for my lower lash line, I like a brush like this. So it's flat, it's thicker, more bristles than that angled one, but it still gives me a pretty fine line. And this is a Morphe brush. I think it was part of a set. I got no idea what number it is. So I'll be using those. And when I'm looking at this palette, I am going to I'm going to take a big fluffy brush. So I'm going to use the GOSS 17. See, that's a big fluffy. When I feel it, it's not densely packed. If you use a brush with really densely packed bristles, or I guess, do we call these bristles? Hairs? Oh. That's going to pick up a lot of color and put down a lot of color. And right now I do not want a lot of color. And on the BK side, I believe this is the 202. That feels like the most similar. So on my left, I'm going to start on my left, and I am going to pick up just 1, 2. I just barely kissed that in there. And I'm going to do this, use the GOSS on my left side. Oh yeah, okay. So you remember when I swatched that color, it was really dark, heavily pigmented. But look, by just kissing the eyeshadow with the brush and working it back and forth, I would have never guessed that I could get such a beautiful crease color from that shade. All right, so that was with the GOSS natural bristle brush, and let's try with the BK Beauty. Same thing. I'm just ever so lightly picking it up, tapping it off, and now going into the crease. So I feel like that picked up a little bit more color. It's not, you know, it's not like it picked up a ton more color, but I am seeing it a little bit more on my right side. That could have just been my lighting, because now when I look right at you, I don't feel like that's the case. Okay, so it's we're just going to chalk it up to my lighting right now. Forget what I said. That is okay. That's pretty. Oh, you know I'm dying to go into that copperized color, but I'm feeling like that's a little bit more than I want to do for going to Target. I know what I'm going to do. All right, so this is the copperized color. Use my pinky and just ever so slightly rub it, and I'm dabbing with my pinky out here at the outer part of my lash line on the movable part of my lid, and now I'm just kind of working it, blending it into the lid a little bit. Okay, a little bit down along the lash line. See, I just put just that little bit of copper out there. And even though I am right-handed, I'm going to try it on my left side with my left hand so I don't have to go across my face. So let's see how we do here. Tapping it, the outer corner, and then working it in. And I'm going to check this in a second. I feel like I may have picked up more on my left side than my right side. A little teeny tiny bit. So let me just, a little teeny tiny bit back on the right. Okay, so I just have now that copper color picked up on the outside, and I am going to go into Gold Rush with this finger and swipe that along from the inner corner all the way to where that copperized is, and even just overlapping it a wee bit. Okay, and I'm just going to reach across my face this time. It's not so bad since I'm doing the inner and center part of my lid. Wowzers. Yeah, that's some really pretty color. I am seeing some fallout up here, which kind of surprises me, but all right. And I am going to use this angle brush and go into, what was that? Illicit, that dark brown, to work my, my lash line. And I am really just, you know, stamping this at the base of my lashes. Working really hard to not even really get it on my lid, since I have so little of the movable part of my lid that shows when my eyes are open. I don't want to take away from those pretty colors I just put down. And you can see, I hope you can see, that this side has just a little more definition than that side. So let's go ahead and do this side now. And this is a makeup trick that I stole from GOSS, so let's give credit where credit is due. But I have been using this for several months now. I stopped tightlining because it was causing problems with my eyes, and so to give my eye health a break, I stopped tightlining, but I missed that extra definition. But I think that's pretty and works nicely. And now let's figure out, I am going to go in with the Bronze Struck here and do my lower lash line with that. That's pretty. That just gives a little bit of color down there. And so I feel like maybe I am not delivering on my promise of a real good comparison between these synthetic and natural brushes, because I only used one brush. Maybe I'll have to do that again in a different video, so sorry about that. I will though try just blending out. So here's a big fluffy, this is the GOSS number 16. And I'm just blending anything left to blend. And on the BK Beauty side, this is the number 201 and blending with that. I will say that these BK Beauty brushes are soft, but this is not as soft as the Wayne GOSS brush is. All right. Well, you know what? Like I said, I'm running to Target, so I'm going to do a little, okay. I'm going to do a little pop of highlight and go in there with Gilt Trip. That's G-I-L-T. So this is the Wayne GOSS number 20, just a little brush, picking up just a little bit and going there at the inner corner of my eye and working it just ever so slightly onto the lid. And on the BK Beauty side, we have anything teeny, teeny, tiny like that? No, we don't. Let me see what I'm going to use then. There's an angled shader brush, and what I'm going to try to do is just use the tip of that. You can see I just put shadow on the tip, and then I can go into the inner corner with that. All right, that worked nicely. Oh, how pretty and fun. And here is the final look with mascara. And, oh, you know, it's pretty, but I think we both know I didn't buy that palette to do kind of a mellow daytime Target look. So I'm going to add another look to this video, and we'll find some drama in that palette because it's definitely there. Today, let's try to get a more dramatic look out of this palette. I have primed my eyes with the Anastasia eye primer. And again, I have the two sets of brushes that I'll be using. The Wayne GOSS, which are natural bristles, and the BK Beauty, which are synthetic. So let's go in with the one matte color. And what I'm going to try to do is put that into the crease really densely and darkly, and then smoke it up. And so on the BK side, I'm going to try this angle brush because, like I said, I want it to be pretty defined where it initially goes down. And I have my foundation on, but I haven't set with any powder because there was a little bit of fallout on this, and if I get some, I want to be able to clean it away easily and redo some foundation if I need to. So I've picked up some shadow on this, and I am just, it didn't want to go smoothly into my crease, so I'm a little tapping it and a little brushing it. Okay, and I'm going to say that's nominally what I had in mind. And on the Wayne GOSS side, I do have a smaller number 20 brush that I'm going to try the same thing. So again, I'm really trying to put it down just in the crease. And this is going much more smoothly. I think that is mostly due to the difference in the brush. You know, an angle brush versus like a small blending brush, and maybe only 5% to the natural bristles versus the synthetic bristles. And that is, let's see here. So I think the result is the same. It was definitely easier to do with this shape brush. So part of the takeaway here is if you're creative and careful, you can make just about any brush do just about anything. Let's, like I said now, kind of blend that and smoke that out. So on the BK Beauty side, this is the 201. This is a fluffier blending brush. And I'm not going to go down at all. Right now I'm using that wiper motion and kind of working it up a little bit, not going below the crease at all. And that is really softening that line. You can compare the two, much softer now that it's been blended, and a little bit of the color is washing up onto the upper part of my lid, which is exactly what I was going for. On the Wayne Goss side, we're going to take the big fluffy number 16 and do the same thing. The wiper motion, and not going down at all, just up, because I want to leave the lid clean for right now. And that is going nicely. I feel like it's looking like I got more shadow laid down on the Wayne Goss side than on the BK Beauty side. And again, I think that was due to the brush shape. So, but I think the net effect when my eyes are open is the same. Now let's work on that outer corner, the outer V a little bit, and I'm going to go in again with that one matte color and just bring it down to connect it to the lash line from the crease. And doing the same with the angle brush again on the BK Beauty side. And that is going to be more of a tapping again. Now here, I think that angle brush has done a lot nicer job of putting the color down where I wanted it than on the Wayne Goss side. And now I'm taking that same blending brush and I'm just working with small circles. The reason I'm doing this is I want it to blend better, you know, have softer lines, be the wash of color without going anywhere. I don't really want that color to leave the area where I put it down. So small circles work the product in without spreading it around. And I'm going to do the same over here. And I will say that my left side is at a disadvantage since I am right-handed and I've got to work across body, etc., etc. All right, so you can see now I just have a little bit of color out there. I want to darken that up just a touch, and so I'm going to go in with this dark brown. It's got a little bit of gold fleck in it. And I'm just going to use the same brushes. So on the Wayne Goss side, that little number 20, and I'm not picking up a ton, and I'm really tapping it off because I'm just trying to get a wash of shadow. And you can see this time I'm applying it with little circles. Just on that outer corner and working it the tiniest bit into the crease. And that really has really given it more depth and darkness out there. Am I going to try the same? You know what? On the BK Beauty side, I'm just afraid of how much this angle brush is going to put down. So I'm going to try the 202, which is kind of like a big crease brush. I'm going to have to be careful. I'm just picking it up on the end. I'm going to tap it off a ton and use that same technique of just applying it in little circles out here. And that is, maybe you can see on camera that the fluffier brush did not lay down as much pigment as the smaller brush did. That's not a surprise. On the Wayne Goss side, I'm going to go in with that big blending brush now, working that in circles. And when I get to the crease, just bringing it a little bit into the crease darken that up, because of course this is the more dramatic look that we're going for. So that has smoothed that out. It doesn't look harsh. Whoops. We'll use the 201 big blending brush on the BK Beauty side to do the same thing. Circles to smudge it in place, and then the wiping motion a little bit into the crease to distribute a little bit of that pigment. All right, and so now that's what we're looking like. That's good. Now let's see here. I am going to pick up this is what I think that's not Gold Rush. I'm so sorry. I should have had that little insert, and I don't have that insert. And I'm trying to tell from the back which is which. Maybe it's Throwing Shade. I don't remember. Okay, so I've picked some up on my finger, and I'm starting at the center of my lid and just doing like the center third. All right, and that's a little bit darker color than I was anticipating. That's okay. Just doing the middle third. And now what I think I'd like to do is use, got a Wayne Goss number 19 here. I'm just going to clean that off a wee bit and go in with Gold Rush. Pick some up, and now I'm going to go into the corner and I'm going to work over that brown that I just put down in the middle. So the effect of that is the corner should be a little lighter because there wasn't any shadow there, and then it should have just brightened up the brown that was already there, and I believe it has done that. And on the BK Beauty side, we're just going to go back in with the 202 and do that same thing. So we're putting it at the corner and washing it over. Yes. All right. So that's starting to come together. I want to pick up this color, the Copperland one. I just think that is the prettiest shade in the whole thing. And what I'm going to do with the Wayne Goss, this is number 17, big, not the super big fluffy blending brush, but it's a big fluffy crease brush. I'm going to pick that up, tap it off, and I am just going to kind of go over, like I would do the crease for the first step, but here I'm just washing it over almost everything that I've put down already. So the crease and the outer corner, just to give it that, that sparkle that comes from the copper. And now look at the difference in the warmth, the depth, the drama in my two eyes. So that, I think that really bumped it up nicely. And on the BK Beauty side, we're going in with 202, just wiping it off a little bit, picking up that copper, tapping it off, and same thing now. Back with the big wiping motions over the crease, and then a little bit down the outside, working that in. Yeah, that, oh, look how beautiful that is, and really, really pumped up the volume on this look. Let's do a little bit of highlighting under the brow, going in with, I believe this is Guilt Trip, and I'm going to try to clean off this little Wayne Goss. Remember last time I used that was with that really dark brown. So I cleaned off the brush as best I can, and I'm going to pick that up and just go under my brow. Yeah, that's nice. A little bit more. Oh yeah, that's a really nice shimmer and highlight up there. Very pretty. On the BK Beauty side, let's try this. It's a 203. It looks to me like a small shader brush, but again, if we're careful with our technique and how we put product on this brush, we can get it to do the same thing. So I'm picking it up at a slight angle, but largely the tip, tapping it off and just using a gentle hand with that wiping motion, because I can always add more. And I think that looks really nice. I think I have accomplished the same thing on that side. Oh, and you can maybe see that, yes, I've gotten fallout on my cheek here, so I'm so glad that nothing is set in powder. All right, now we need to do the lower lash line, and this is where really neither set of these brushes have something that I want to use. So I have the Morphe brush and the Smashbox brush that I used yesterday. So let's use this Morphe. This is this squared off blunt brush. I'm going to go into the one matte shade and go do my lower lash line with that, putting most of the color on the outer third here and then sort of working it inward. I'll do the same thing on this side. This, I feel like my eyes are on a little bit smaller side, so I don't like to do a dark color all the way across. And I like to, as you can see, use my finger to smudge it, to blend it. All right, and because we're pumping up the volume on this drama look, we're going to go into Copperland and do the same thing over the top with Copperland, just to get a little more sparkle and glamour underneath there. Let's do the other side. And now I am just going to take what's left on my brush of that Copperland and really gently hit the inner third. I don't want to put down a lot of color there. All right. And the last thing I need to do is work the lash line. So I'm using that angled brush and the darkest shade here, really tapping off and just smudging it as just at the base of my lashes. That will give me some depth without taking up any of the room on the movable part of my lid. Yeah, see, just the slightest bit of definition. And tapping out, because of course this is a stiff brush and it is kicking up. I am getting quite a lot of kick up in the pan from it, which doesn't surprise me. Very few shadows won't do it when I go in with this very stiff brush. Okay, and the last thing I'm going to do is just one more, just a hint of that copper color to blend and smudge, and do the same on the BK Beauty side. All right, so I am now going to go clean up the mess, finish up, and come back and show you the final look. So here we are with the final dramatic look, and I like how it came out. It certainly is very dramatic. I gotta say, I think I mentioned that this is my first Pat McGrath palette, and I went for one of the minis because it was $65 and I got my 20% off during the summer VIB sale. For me, it's not all that and a bag of chips. I am not blown away, you know? I mean, I think this is a great look, but am I just dying to reach for this all the time? No. Is it going to make me really happy when I look at my palettes and see, oh yeah, I haven't used use that one? I don't think so. I think I'm gonna look at this one and go, well, I tried it. I'm glad I didn't pay full price, but I'm not inclined to buy any more Pat McGrath palettes. Oh my gosh, well, I went to my computer to start uploading and editing this video, and I checked my Google News feed, and what did I see? Pat McGrath now has a $28 palette. What? So I followed the link, and sure enough, appearing today on Sephora, not one, but two mini palettes by Pat McGrath. Yes, I ran out to my Sephora and picked up the Eyeshadow Sublime, which, anyway, I'll do a video on it. You'll see it in a little while. And they had another one that's, this one's kind of neutrals, and it looks like kind of a cranberry or a Merlot color in there. I mean, okay, I get the sequins, but really they're such a hassle. Anyway, some browns, and the other one were green and blue and purple, and all just not my jam. Okay, back to the video. I don't know, just, yeah, the colors aren't blowing me away like I've heard other YouTubers comment on. Anyway, do you own a Pat McGrath palette or more than one? Do you love them? Leave a note in the comments for me. Let me know. Maybe I just missed the boat. Maybe I picked the wrong one, although these would seem to be my colors. Anyway, I am so glad you stopped by. If you are not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. I post every Monday and Thursday. Thank you for joining me, and have a really fantastic day.